There are moments in life that strike like a thunderclap, moments that strip away the illusions you've built around yourself, leaving you exposed to a harsh, unrelenting reality. Everything you thought you knew, every truth you held dear, can be shattered in an instant. For me, that moment came one ordinary evening when my wife confessed a secret so profound it altered the course of our marriage forever. Betrayal is a cruel visitor, never announced, always unwelcome. It strikes when least expected, and its sting lingers long after the revelation. It began as an evening like any other. I returned home from work, weary but eager to relax and see my wife, the rhythm of our life offering a predictable comfort. Yet, as soon as I walked through the door, I sensed something was off. The usual signs of our home, soft murmurs from the television, the aroma of dinner wafting through the air, were conspicuously absent. Silence wrapped itself around the house, heavy and foreboding. I found her, William, seated on the couch in the living room. Her eyes were fixed downward, staring at a spot on the floor, her expression distant, her body stiff. She seemed both braced for something and deeply reluctant to face it. I tried to shake off the unease, forcing a lightness into my voice as I greeted her. "Hey, how was your day?" But the words fell flat, met only with an uncharacteristic stillness. Her usual warmth, the easy smile I'd grown to cherish, was nowhere to be found. The silence between us grew louder, almost oppressive. My pulse quickened, a deep unease settling in my chest. Something was wrong. I could feel it in the air, like a storm gathering on the horizon. She raised her head slowly, meeting my gaze with an expression I couldn't read, an unsettling mix of regret and determination. "We need to talk," she said, her voice trembling ever so slightly. Those 4 words sent a chill through me, my stomach sinking as dread took hold. "What about?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even, though I could feel it wavering. I sat beside her, the weight of anticipation pressing down on me. Seconds dragged into what felt like hours. Then, she spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been seeing someone else." The words cut through the air like a blade, each syllable sharp and cruel. I froze, the world around me blurring as her confession crashed over me, drowning out everything else. My mind struggled to process what I'd just heard. Was this real? Was this my life unraveling before me? She sat there, her face etched with regret but also, strangely, relief. "I've fallen in love with someone else," she admitted, her voice softer now, but no less devastating. Her words hit me like a physical blow, knocking the breath from my lungs. The room seemed to close in around me, the air growing thick and suffocating. "How long?" I managed to ask, my voice shaking as I braced for the answer. 6 months, she replied quietly. Each word struck deeper than the last, a relentless assault on my already fragile heart. 6 months. Half a year of lies, of stolen moments I hadn't even known to suspect. Tears burned in my eyes, and I fought to hold them back. A flood of emotions surged through me, anger, despair, confusion. "How could you do this?" I demanded, my voice trembling with hurt and rage. "How could you betray me like this?" She tried to explain, her words fumbling as she spoke of feelings she couldn't ignore, of a love that had grown in another direction. She claimed she had feared losing me, yet still, she had chosen to explore this other relationship. Her justifications felt hollow, each one deepening the chasm between us. Every word she spoke only magnified the betrayal, unraveling the love I had thought was unshakable. The foundation of our life together now felt like sand slipping through my fingers. I couldn't stay. The walls of the room seemed to press closer, the weight of her confession too much to bear. I stood abruptly, the need for distance overwhelming. My mind was spinning, questions racing faster than I could process them. I walked away, unable to look at her, unable to face the woman who had so completely upended my world. My heart ached with a pain I didn't know was possible, yet somewhere beneath the anguish burned the need to understand. I wasn't ready to let go, not yet. Not until I had uncovered the full truth. The night air outside was crisp, biting at my skin, but it did little to quell the chaos raging inside me. Each breath I took seemed heavier than the last, weighed down by the storm of emotions swirling in my chest. The betrayal I had just uncovered left me raw, yet beneath the heartbreak simmered a rising anger, a need to confront, to demand answers, to understand how everything we built had been dismantled behind my back. I stepped back into the house, the silence within now oppressive, a sharp contrast to the warmth it once held. My voice trembled with both fury and despair as I asked, "How could you keep this from me for so long? Why didn't you tell me?" The words felt inadequate against the magnitude of what had happened. William looked at me, her face pale, her eyes shimmering with guilt. "I was scared," she admitted, her voice cracking under the weight of her confession. I thought I could love you both, but I couldn't. I didn't know how to tell you." Her words spilled out in fragments, each one cutting deeper into the wound. Her explanation did nothing to ease the ache in my chest. If anything, it magnified the hollowness that had settled there. In that moment, everything changed. I was forced to confront a truth I hadn't wanted to see, that the trust we had built, the life we had shared, was irrevocably shattered. Every memory now felt tainted, as if the years we had spent together had been nothing but an elaborate facade. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay in the dark, my mind racing as fragments of our life replayed themselves with a cruel clarity. How long had she been lying? How much of our love had been real? The house, once a sanctuary, now felt cold and alien. Every corner seemed to echo with the emptiness her betrayal had left behind. Restless and desperate for answers, I wandered through the house until I found myself at her desk. My hands moved almost instinctively, driven by a mix of anger and sorrow. I rifled through her belongings, searching for something, anything that could give me the truth she had withheld. In the back of a drawer, beneath a clutter of old receipts, I found her phone. My hesitation was brief. The need for clarity outweighed any lingering doubt. I unlocked it and began reading. Message after message scrolled before my eyes, each one a dagger to my heart. There were words of affection, plans for the future, and promises whispered to someone else. With every text, every photo, the extent of her betrayal became undeniable. She hadn't just strayed, she had built a secret life alongside the one we shared. Each discovery solidified something inside me. The pain was unbearable, but so was the clarity. There was no salvaging this. The lies had been too deep, the trust too thoroughly destroyed. I couldn't live in the shadow of her deceit any longer. My mind was resolute, even as my heart broke. When I finally confronted her, the house seemed to hold its breath. I stood before her, my voice calm but heavy with pain. "I know everything," I said, the words ringing out like a tolling bell. "This is over." Her face crumpled as tears spilled freely down her cheeks. She pleaded with me, her voice cracking under the weight of her remorse. "Please," she begged. "I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance." But there was no going back. Her words were drowned by the finality of my decision. "It's beyond repair," I said, my voice steady even as my soul ached. "Our marriage is finished." I turned away from her, each step heavy with the weight of what I was leaving behind. The finality of it settled in my chest like a stone, but alongside the pain was a faint glimmer of something else: freedom. As I walked away, I knew this was the beginning of a long and difficult journey. The devastation of betrayal ran deep, but I refused to let it define me. Healing wouldn't come overnight, but I was determined to rebuild, to reclaim the parts of myself that had been lost. In time, I would learn that even the deepest wounds could heal. The strength I found in moving forward would become my anchor, a testament to the resilience of the human heart. Though the scars would remain, they would serve as a reminder of my capacity to endure and to grow. This wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the beginning of a new chapter. One where hope, however faint, still flickered on the horizon, promising brighter days ahead.